aka Bullets, YouTube channel.
Hurry up, now tell us why you're here.
Even though these two cars can win the Piston Cup, neither starts at pole position. Hall Ingus is the one who starts at pole position, and he'll lead for the first 7 laps. But then, WJ Lights will take the lead and lead for the next 5 laps. But on lap 12, Alloy Wilson will take the lead from him, and he'll lead for only 2 laps. The one who takes it from him is Alan Karwicki, who will lead until lap 19 before, well, on lap 19, Clint Shiftwright will take the lead, and he'll lead all the way to lap 36! But then, James Robson will take the lead from him afterwards, and he'll lead for the next 11 laps before Benny Pit Stops will take the lead from him, and he'll lead for 7 laps before Mark Carton will take the lead from him. Mark Carton will lead for the next 8 laps, and on lap 62, Mike Yankee will take the lead from him. He'll only lead to lap 64. But then, Chick Hicks, who's second as of lap 64, will crash. Mike Yankee, who is now out, as well as Billy Ford, who's also out. Chick Hicks will lead for the next 10 laps. But on lap 74, Larry Smith will take the lead. He'll lead for 3 laps before losing the lead to Davey Carlison, who will lead all the way to lap 81. And he'll lose the lead to Matthew Fuel at Wheel, who will lead for the next 2 laps. But then, on lap 83, Dale Earnhardt is second. And guess what Dale Earnhardt does? He crashes Matthew Fuel at Wheel, as well as Ruby Easy Oaks. And Neil Brinkett! Dale Earnhardt will lead all the way to lap 167 for a total of 85 laps! The one that causes Dale Earnhardt to lose the lead is the King, and he'll lead for the next 9 laps. Daryl Cartrip will take the lead for 6 laps after the King is done leading. Kyle Traxon will take the lead from him and lead for the next 3 laps. But of course his rival, Chick Hicks, is second as of lap 185. And Chick Hicks does the most Chick Hicks thing ever and crashes Kyle Traxon, as well as Dale Carrett. Chick Hicks will take the lead for the next 20 laps. He'll lose the lead to Phil Pit Stops, who will lead for the next 4 laps before he'll lose the lead to Murray Clutchburn, who will lead all the way to lap 212. But then, he'll lose the lead to Cole Speedland, who will lead only a lap before Jonathan Melter is 4th as of lap 213, where he'll eliminate Cole Speedland, his rival, of course, Ernie Gearson. Jonathan Melter will take the lead for only 2 laps. Why only 2 laps? Because Craig Shiftwright will take the lead for another 2 laps. But then, Ken Schrader will take the lead from Craig Shiftwright and lead for the next 3 laps. He'll lose the lead to Bill Racelot, who will lead for 3 more laps. But then, Clint Shiftwright will lead for the next 22 laps. But then, Chick Hicks is 9th as of lap 244. And then he puts Larry Smith down 1 lap after slamming him to the wall. Dale Earnhardt will lead for the next 45 laps. Benny Pit Stops will put an end to Dale Earnhardt's lead and lead for the next 10 laps. But then, KL Yarborough will take the lead and lead for the next 11 laps after that. Alloy Wilson will lead for 16 laps before Andrew Axler will take the lead from him. And he'll lead all the way to lap 324. But then, he'll lose the lead to David Carlson, who will lead for the next 2 laps. But then, Rusty Wheelhouse is 17th as of lap 225, where he'll crash Rusty Cornfuel and Ernie Swervin. The King will take the lead after Rusty Wheelhouse does his crash, and he'll lead all the way to lap 334. But then, James Robson will lead the next 3 laps after the King loses the lead. But then, Paul Ingus will take the lead on lap 337 and lead to lap 342. But then, Chick Hicks will take the lead and lead for the next 3 laps. But then, Daryl Cartrip will lead for the next 7 laps. After those 7 laps, Mark Carton will retake the lead and lead for the next 6 laps. But then, Clint Shiftwright will take the lead after that and lead to lap 366. After that's over, WJ Lights will take the lead and he'll lead for the next 9 laps. But then, Chick Hicks is 19th as of lap 371, where he'll crash Eugene Kobareski, Krusty Roder, Mark Landis, Brush Kerber, Kenny Shiftwright, and Sammy Smelter. James Clean Air will have a really bad wreck and he'll miss the first 2 races of next season. James Robson will take the lead for another 5 laps. But then, Davy Carlson will take the lead, and he'll lead all the way to lap 386 for a total of 6 laps. Dale Earnhardt will lead for a total of 11 laps before... Oh, yay! And Larry Smith is back on lead lap on lap 392. James Robson will take the lead for 2 laps before Chick Hicks takes the lead. He's really happy because he thinks he's going to win. But in the end, the King wins by only 12 feet on lap 400, and he wins the 1988 Dinoco 400, which also means the King wins the 1988 Piston Cup! He only beat Dale Earnhardt by 3 points! And also, you see that these standings are very different from the old standings. You see that Craig Shiftwright is not in the top 20, and neither is Cale Yarborough or Neil Brackett. This is because there are many more racers that are aiming to win the Piston Cup. And you also notice that Benny Pitstops is not in the top 10, just like last season. Bill Racelot surprisingly finished 4th this season. And also, Alloy Wilson was doing really well in 3rd for most of the season, but then he dropped after he had to miss 3 races. WJ Lights came in 17th, and also, this isn't his actual paint scheme. What you've been seeing is wrong! I'll have a video to prove the right paint scheme. Also, 5 rookies made it into the top 40, and many other racers from last season who were in the top 40, like Claude Scruggs, are no longer in the top 40, just because there's more competition. And also, you might notice that Jonathan Melcher beat Cole Speedland by a lot this season. Usually Cole Speedland wins out, but Kenny Shiftwright has just dropped a lot. And also, Don Chapcar is still in the top 40, despite the fact he's dead. And also, I'll have special resolution pictures for dead cars that finish in the top 40. And also, you'll notice that Ken Schrader came 14th, which was completely unexpected. And the most unexpected thing of all was James Robson finishing in the top 10. Most cars did not expect this. And also, Michael Cartrip still finished 34th, despite the fact he never did well. Mostly because he qualified for every single race. And also, Alex Quint, who's been retired since the 20th race, is still in the top 40. Here is a text version with points for the top 20.
Remember to press the notifications button, which goes ring, ring, ring after you press it. And lightning strikes back, and that's as if you subscribed, of course. And thank you for watching this entire video.
A couple reactions for the top 40 I forgot to mention was Chick Hicks came 3rd! What? And also, Kyle Traxon came 32nd. So that means Chick Hicks finished 29 positions ahead of his rival. So, Kyle Traxon did really bad this season. I forgot to include these earlier, but I just remember them now. I forgot to include which cars are retiring this season. Those cars are Cale Yarborough, Bill Shields, and most importantly, Benny Pitstops, who currently is the owner of the Pitstops Revolting crew. And now, since the owner is retiring, now Phil Pitstops, Benny Pitstops' son, is now responsible for making sure that he and Don Alternators are doing well. Now, may these 3 cars enjoy their retirement. And also, a huge shift will be occurring very, very soon. A lot of the older cars who are racing in the 70s and 80s are going to retire. And a lot of new cars will become rookies. After this season, these cars will race in the 1990s and the 2000s. Stay tuned for the 1989 Florida 500.